So we came in the Alps of France for a photo walk in the forest. I say wildlife photo walk. I always hope to get some wildlife, which is never sure, but we do an attempt. And so prior to do that, we look through the equipment used. I'm going to be using today. So today I have the Canon 7D Mark II, which is it's been out for a while, but it's still a great camera for action, sports and wildlife photography. And paired with the 70-200 f2.8 Canon lens, which is still one of the best lenses on the market at this kind of level. And then we'll be filming with the other camera. Is the Canon EOS M5, a bit more small and compact camera. Is a mirrorless camera. They both share the same sensor pretty much, but this one is a DSLR, so it's got the mirror. Every time you press the shutter, the mirror goes up and down, reflecting the image into the sensor. The other one is a good experience to use because what you see is what you get. So that's what I like about the electronic viewfinder. It takes a while to get used to, but it's got some advantages and some disadvantages. So one of the advantages is that what I just said, so what you see is what you get. A disadvantage is it's got a little bit of a lag from photo to photo. It's not continuous. Some of the newer cameras in the market now, they are continuous shooting photos without any lag in between. So it's like watching a movie, and you constantly take photos up to 20 frames per second, some of them. These cameras are around 10 frames per second, from 7 to 10, 12 frames per second. But it's still quite good, enough shutter speed to freeze the action and to capture wildlife or sports photography. The good thing of using these two cameras of the same brand is that they are compatible. So I mainly use this Canon EOS M5 for video with the Rode Video Mic Pro, because the audio is always better if recorded with an external microphone. This one has got his own battery, so he's powered himself and is adjustable, so it's a very good quality audio you get from this. This lens is the Canon 10-18mm. It's stabilized, so it's a great lens for video. It's not very bright, it's an f5.6. It's good enough for normal daytime use particularly. I'm also added a filter to be able to shoot at 150 of shutter speed for a good 25 frames per second video settings. It's nice, reasonably portable, compact, and produces good footage, nice and stable. And also you can adapt any lens that goes on this camera, this big DSLR, it can be adapted on this one. And this is a very fantastic convenience to have, because I can, for example, put the 70-200 on this small camera, because it's got an adapter. When it comes from the factory, they give you this adapter. This adapter is removable, but I leave it on because I very rarely use the normal lenses, the M lens. So you can adapt the 70-200, which it becomes a little bit unbalanced forward, of course, but it's a much lighter and compact system to use, and you can achieve both variables. So this is a great combination. And this, as I said before, this is a mirrorless camera, so what you see, what you get. You can look through the viewfinder or through the screen. The screen is a touch screen. It's fantastic. It's a very fast shutter speed. This one is a camera very versatile for both video and photography. Focus-wise, I think this one is the best focus system the Canon has provided so far. I'm not sure if the Canon 1DX Mark II may be better, but this one is the same level as the 5D Mark III, D Mark IV. So this one is a really good camera. The only inconvenience is an Aps-c sensor, so there are pros and cons. You can reach a bit further, being cropped. That means that compared to a full frame camera of Canon, it cropped 1.6 times the photo. So it's like you take a photo with a full frame camera and you crop it 1.6 times. The same sensor covers both cameras. But I find really useful this combination of using Canon lenses on these two camera systems. So if I want to go out with the light system, light camera, you can just use this one this way. It can be used also with different type of lenses. Now this one is the 10-18mm, so it's quite good for selfie because I can hold it like this and I can see myself in the frame. It's got also a tiltable screen. It tilts down. Some people moan about it, some people are happy about it. Tilting down, I already made another video. You can see the link up there for the previous video I made about to have this as a best vlogging camera. The focus is fantastic. I can see my face in the frame. The little square focus, autofocus system telling me that I'm in focus. And at arm length I can feel the frame. I can even be as close as this to have a nice video footage. People like these days vlogging with the camera like this up to their faces. Okay, but anyway, it's getting towards the sunset time and I'm really hoping to show you some wildlife because that will really excite me the most. Let's go! So a few of the tips that I share with you when we go wildlife photography. Today I haven't put a particularly big camouflage because I know where to go and I'm going to be hiding myself for a moment. Hopefully I see the deer and the animals that I saw the days before coming to the same spot. They usually go to the same places over and over. And I try not to disturb them, so they should be able to go back again to the same place. So the only thing I'm going to be wearing a pair of gloves because our skin, our hands really reflect in the light and that's something that can easily spot. So just by wearing a pair of gloves like this, you know, you hide a bit more yourself, and then I try to cover a little bit more my face for any reflection from the sun, and absolutely no use of any sunglasses because this is a quick reflection they can spot from further in the distance. Together with this combination I'm going to be testing also the other lens, which is the Tamron 150mm to 600, which is another good lens that I got the chance to test today. And you know, it is pretty much similar size because it's got is not a constant aperture. So whether this one is f2.8 throughout the range of the zoom, this one as you zoom in it will close down to 6.3. So it goes out like this, and so you reduce the light as you zoom in. So there are again advantages and disadvantages. If the light is good enough, it's no problem to shoot at 6.3, but if the light is a bit dark, you would like to have a 2.8 lens. The only problem that a 6mm lens, this length in 2.8, it will be double the size and it will be very pricey. So the Canon 600mm is in the range of 12,000, 15,000 pounds or dollars, wherever you are in the world, which is something for me a bit unaffordable and unacceptable. So I will try to do this test. So see, as we will have to crop the photo anyway, see the quality of the photo will be better in 600mm f6.3 or 200mm f2.8 and then crop the image. Okay, let's stop with the talk and let's go hiking in the forest. Hiding behind the trees is of course a good tip, you know, because wildlife can have a good sense of smell, but if you are in line with the trees you give more chance not to be seen, you know. They don't have the great eyesight, particularly deer and other little animals. Let's see what we can find. I just heard the woodpecker over there. Of course, to increase your chances to find anything, you can as well wear a full camouflage clothing system, and you know, and just stay still and hope But most of the times you can also find in the forest some hide that somebody else has made, or just hide yourself close to the tree trunk, or in between some of the branches, and stay still for a bit, as long as you start to hear the birds singing again. There is something over there, maybe a deer. Because interesting enough, suddenly the wood goes really quiet. When they hear there's someone around, the animals goes quiet. Sometimes there's one bird or one animal, they shout, they alert everybody. So you just don't want that to happen. So far, it didn't happen today. And as the sun is setting, the chances of finding some animals, increase dramatically. Let's hope. Sometimes you might forget your tripod, like I did so many times. So I found a solution. Find a piece of wood, and that's the job. Anything that can help stabilizing a long length like this really needs stabilization, so really need to be stable. And as much as I'm trying to hold it stable, it's so difficult to keep it still, you know. So just find a piece of wood, and that's it. When talking about settings for this kind of situation, see, with the Tamron 150 to 600 millimeters, ideally I keep the aperture as low as possible, so which would be f5. But as I said before, as you zoom in, you watch the aperture. As I zoom out, it goes 5.6 and then 6.3. See, at the moment is 6.3, so this is the widest I can shoot at 600 millimeters. So then I put the ISO on automatic, so it will be the only parameter that will adjust himself. So at the moment, if I would shoot now, is ISO already 3200, and shutter speed, because the lens is going 600, nothing less than 600. So I'm trying 1/800 of a second. This lens got a good stabilization, and so with 800 of a second, if I keep my hand as still as possible, I can get a pretty sharp image. So as you can see, using this Tamron 150 to 600 millimeters, even at the start at 150 millimeters, I'm already on f5.0. So that means that up until 200 millimeters, I might as well better be using the other length, the Canon 70-200 f2.8. And then of course this has got a much more reach, but most of the times, particularly birds, are in the shadow, and so at 6.3, plus this being a crop sensor camera, 6.3 is very dark, so you are gonna have to raise the ISO over 6400 on this camera is not really good. Canon is not the best camera for recovering shadows. I'll be mainly using this camera, the 7D Mark II, for photography. But in case I'd like to do a little filming, a good tip is to set one of these custom buttons. There are 3 custom buttons on the dial here, and I set the third one to be for film, for video. So as soon as I want to film something, I just have to quickly turn this dial, and I got my settings ready with a 150 of shutter speed, filming at 125 frames per second. ISO automatic and f5, so this way I can just quickly press the shutter record button for video, and have a quick footage. Then back to manual. On normal photography, I use manual all the time. Very rarely I use aperture or TV, which is a time value. Most of the time manual. So I leave the 2 parameters fixed as I choose. Like I said, 1/800 of a second shutter speed, and as wide as possible. So f5.0 when it's closed in, and it will go to f6.3 as you turn the lens to zoom to 600mm. And so the only parameter that will let the camera play by himself automatically is the ISO automatic. So it will go up and down depending on the light. Anyway, I hope you found this video somewhat nice or useful. You're welcome to join my adventure by subscribing to the channel, by clicking the subscribe button below, and hit the bell if you want to be notified when my next adventure will be posted. It's mainly about the outdoors life, sports photography, wildlife photography, and mainly sport that I follow is cycling and alpine skiing, as I am a ski instructor, racing coach, and also a king cyclist, cycling guiding people to discover the beautiful Alps of Italy and France in particular, but also Tuscany and around the Prosecco region, the Dolomites, Alps of Italy. So if you like this type of video, enjoying the outdoors, and you want to know more about photography, what camera you should get, camera settings, video settings, let me comment below and I will try to respond as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and get outdoors, as it's fabulous outdoors! Sure. I am upwind. It's now very dark, it's completely evening. So the ISO at the moment is 1600 ISO. See how the footage will turn up. I'm impressed that the camera can still focus on. See if I can get closer. So difficult to get anything here. That's it, they heard me. That's it, they now heard me.